Hi coach, I'm your new player. Mom held me out of youth football so I wouldn't get hurt, but I am ready to go now. I wanted to be part of that team of yours.
You're a little light in the ass, boy. And you say you have never played football before. You think it's safe putting you in with those dogs that have been playing since they were 8 years old is a safe idea.
Well, Mom said it was not safe to play football before high school. I'm ready. All I need, coach, is for you to show me how to buckle this chin strap.
That might be a little dramatic, but that's the situation most of us, our freshman coaches face. I had a friend of mine ask me if I could put together a video for kids that hadn't played very much. They're coaching high school football. Yeah, the high school coach showing they got to coach them the way that we're going to run the defense as seniors and juniors. And most of those cats down there hadn't played football in their life. And then not only have to teach them how to put their helmet on and buckle the chin strap, they also have to teach them how to get in the stance. Then they're going to tell them how to read, what a three tech is, what a wide nine is, and all the terminology was completely foreign to them. And most of them don't even know how to speak kid language. And if you can't speak kid language, you can't coach kids. More to follow. This is mainly for coaches that try to get kids that hadn't played football before to even know how to hit. But first of all, you have to understand whether you're a parent or a coach and been coaching for as long as I have, which is probably over 40 years. We put together some successful teams and some killer defenses. And everybody asks, how did you get those kids at that age to do what they do? And it's pretty simple by making a lot of mistakes along the way. But I learned to speak kid language. And in doing so, I had to learn another thing too. Football is not a natural behavior event in anyone's life. It's a learned behavior. And if you want to keep your kids safe, it's a parent decision if they play football or not. If you want to keep your kids safe, introducing them to a full contact sport with kids that's been playing sometimes since they're eighth grade that are natural born hitters, and you're going to introduce them in high school, and these kids have been playing for 6, 8 years, and the kid that hadn't played is going to be introduced to these guys. And remember, when they go in as freshmen, they're going to be playing not only freshman ball, they're going to have to scrimmage every now and then against juniors and seniors. I mean, some grown ass men. So they've never played football in their life. You're going to think it's safe to throw them there to a bunch of wild dogs that's going to just literally tear their ass up unless they've had some kind of exposure to football. They're going to get hurt. So I don't know what safe is and what safe isn't. I don't have any problem with a kid never playing football, and I get it. You know, it's a dangerous sport. You don't want them to play. I get that. But holding them off until they're in the ninth grade and throwing them in with a bunch of dogs like that, I don't know. You better rethink that. That's your decision. It's your kid. Another thing, too, teaching a kid to hit. That's really weird. I mean, because if you think about it, everything we do in life like is natural behavior to a degree. And if we want to get good at something, it becomes learned behavior. Well, two human beings running full speed into each other is not natural behavior. So that has to be taught, no matter what. Taught how to take a hit, how to hit, uh, where to put the head, where to put the shoulder, the strike zone, all this. That's years of training. And throwing a kid in the ninth grade that's never had that is going to get tagged pretty good. So what you want to do is introduce a kid to hitting. And if you really think about this, I want my kid to know how to get hit. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Natural behavior. People don't naturally run into each other and get hit. Well, that's football. So this is how you teach it. So I have a friend of mine that's a defensive coach, a good one too. He says, I got a bunch of freshmen here, and coach, they don't know how to hit. And, we're teaching them how to play the defense. So here's a trick that I've used for years. And I'm going to tell you, we've got some defenses that hadn't been scored on in years. Kids will do what you tell them to do, even if it's not natural. If you tell a kid, like a defensive tackle, a defensive end, read the quarterback, read the offside back, read the tackle, well, they're going to do that. And they don't know what the hell they're reading. So the whole time they're thinking and trying to read, you got an offensive lineman or a running back just running their ass over. So here's a trick I do. I don't let kids read. I tell kids where to go. And I don't believe in gap control. I believe in gap attack. So if you really want your kids to be successful, don't, as a freshman that hadn't played before, even some that have played, actually in high school, to be honest with you, I don't let the kids do a lot of damn reading because half of them don't know what you know as a coach, and the other half they got other things on their mind. They're going to school, they're taking an exam, they're looking at girlfriends and shit like that. They're not interested in reading guards and hat up, hat down, all that stuff. Those stuff that we've known and tried to impress people with our language for years that the kids don't know anything about. So if you want to teach a kid to be good at football, tell them where to go. What I developed is I know you guys ain't gonna like this. It's politically incorrect, so change the terminology. We call it the kill box. And in between the tackles is what we've determined the kill box in football as far as my little defensive ball players. And I've coached high school right up to All-American games all the way to Little League. But I find it kind of cool coaching eighth graders. If you tell kids where to go, they're going to go there. And if they don't go, then take them out and teach them and put another kid in that's going to do it for you to get the other one trained up. I don't like a bunch of gophers. This is what I call gap control football. They engage, they extend, they lock out, and they're trying to find the football, looking. And the whole time, a big offensive lineman pushing their ass right down the field or back into the linebackers. That just doesn't make sense to me. What I tell the kid to do is you go here and you go there as fast as you can go, and don't worry about where the ball carrier is. You'll run into him. You ain't got to teach them to hit. Hell, they'll run into each other like a car wreck. And pretty soon they'll learn that it's actually fun to do that. And, most of them anyway. So anyway, I developed this box thing. What I wanted to do was I wanted to control both A and B gaps and C gaps. You control those things, you got the ball game pretty much won. So what I do is another thing too. I tell our kids, do not line up on the outside shoulder or inside shoulder or what they call shade. Line them up head up. Because you really want to mess an offensive line up, line up head up on the offensive lineman. Because even in Little League, you've heard this phrase, God, gap on down, down block, head up inside, all that stuff. Well, dude, you line up head up on me, I don't know where the hell you're going. And if you try to bull rush me, okay, I get it, man. But if you're going left and right different times, you confuse me. And let me tell you something about offensive linemen. Offensive linemen are OCD. They want to know where you're at every time. You watch them, even in the pros. They come up, look at the centers. They'll start pointing, counting 1, 2, 3. I got him, you got him. If they know where you're at, they're going to get your ass. If they don't know where you're going, that makes it a little tougher for them. So what I do, this is what I don't run it as a base. This is how we line it up and then we transition out of it. But this is what we do. I call them tackles. Line your 2 tackles up, head up on the 2 offensive guards. Stack your inside backers directly on their ass. I mean, right on top of them. This is just for the one defense, okay? It's not for everyone. But on this one, line your defensive ends, outside shoulder, tell them they got contain. Now, I call pinch and I call wide. We also run what we call a bull and a tampa out of it. I'll get to that, okay? Well, let's just go over the assignments. Let's say we're in pinch. All right, let's jump right into pinch. In pinch, you see we got the backers stacked directly on their butts. I mean, kind of unnatural looking almost. I mean, they want to be right on top of them, hugging them like 2 dogs out in the field on top of each other, whatever. Anyway, you watch it, you see how it works, all right? Because right now, if there's nobody head up on you, they're looking at what the next inside guy to block is. That's the offensive line. But right now, they don't know, and that's what you want. Indecision means split seconds, and we win the split second decision. The key is your tackles have to be explosive off the ball to whichever direction we're calling. And the backers have to replace the butt cheek. In other words, if I've got on pinch, I'm pinching both tackles in A gap as fast as they can go as soon as the ball moves. And the linebackers are replacing the ass of the tackles on the opposite direction. They can't run around it. They got to go straight off of it. You have to practice this. It's almost like a dance. Let me see how it's supposed to work. There you go. You see the tackles now, A gap, B gaps hit. I mean, it is explosive when it hits. Your backers cannot take a drop step. They have to replace the ass cheek. In other words, if I've got a pinch on and I'm pinching left as a tackle, that backer has to be coming right off of my right ass cheek, straight in. He can't round it off. And I'm telling you, it's devastating. There will be a lot of times, especially in the youth level, they want to get the ball off. If he's under center, it's over. If he's in gun, it's a little more, it's not quite as threatening, but it's still bad. Coverage, you can say, well, coach, what do we do with the coverage here? Because you got a 2x2 out there. And I'm not talking kid language, I'm talking adult language. 2x2, got two receivers on each side. Well, this is the coverage I find, because when you got pressure like we're putting on it, some people call this a cover three. I call it, some call it a man over. This right here is, I'm basically, it's a cover two. On your corners, I've got the short areas and the flats covered by my outside backers. The corners have the deep thirds, and I got my safety playing in the middle. A little team I'm coaching right now, I think we're in our fourth game this year, and we got like 6 or 8 interceptions. And really, it's your pass rush that creates these interceptions. But I don't like man coverage. I played DB in college, and I can tell you right now, man coverage is not only is it difficult, but if you once that receiver turns his hips and you have to turn your hips with him, your back's to the ball. You're of no use to a run game, and I like zone better, especially for kids. It's just a lot easier. And if you teach zone, most high schools don't even teach coverage, so it scares me sometimes. Good ones do, but I've seen a lot of it don't. I mean, you should spend more time on coverage in your DB as you do your front. Anyway, that's your pinch right there. Now, again, we're back in the kill box, and it's just the opposite now. Wherever I call the pinch or the wide, that's the indication for the tackles. If I call pinch, tackles are pinching. We call wide, tackles are going wide, and your backers are shooting A gap. Now, I don't like this. Depends on your personnel. I kind of like my backers scraping wide and the tackles pinching, but a lot of people do it. You don't want them going the same way every time. Anyway, it's that simple. Coverage is the same. All right, bull is what we'll line up just like this, and it depends on the sticks. If we're down in distance, is indicating they're probably going to throw the ball on us, short distance, and it's not, it's not critical. I'm not going to drop back into a pass defense, but I want to go ahead, or maybe a team is hitting us wide, as far as hitting us outside with toss and sweeps and all that stuff, reverses. Then we'll transition to bull, and all I do is we'll take the backers, and it's like a bull's horn. We'll pull him out there right over top of the B gaps. And that's really successful for us. We can blitz out of that. You can call pinch and wide still. Got to be careful, though. When you're in bull, you don't want to be blitzing, although you can. But there's a lot of variations you can think of to do out of that. But I'd say that once we get ahead of a ball game and we shock them real quick with box, we'll be in bull for most of the game until they start throwing. You get a team behind, they're going to start throwing on you. And when they do that, and listen, keep your defense in the huddle until the offense breaks. That's crazy, man. I see defenses line up on the ball or gonna be on their knee, waiting on the offense to break. Well, hell, they already know where you're at. I told you, if the offense knows where you're at, half their job's done. Do not break your defense until that offense approaches the ball. Once that offense approaches the ball, what I like to do too is I'll line them up and box, and then at the last minute we'll transition. We'll yell out, bull, bull, and they'll transition to bull. That movement screws up everybody. In this case, we'll line up, and the offensive coordinator says, oh, my God, I got him. We got to throw the ball. They're in 3 deep coverage. Man, we got their ass right now. And we'll yell, Tampa, Tampa. And when that happens, this is the transition. Safety moves over. Corner moves back to too high safety. Then I drop the other backer back, and I shoot this backer over here in the flat, move this in the middle, and I'm in Tampa defense right now. And I can drop that middle backer even back further to a true Tampa if I have to. But it's usually in there, hook to curl. So there's your kill box transition out to Tampa. Football coaches will understand this. A lot of people, this is what kills me. It's like any other business. Oh, that's some stupid shit. Well, don't run it, dude. I do this because people ask. And if it works, it works. But I can tell you right now, it works for us.